If you're watching this, you're probably not starting from zero with automation. You've got some app script running somewhere, or a set of zaps handling parts of your IT workflows, and for a while that was fine. But at some point the script breaks, and the person who wrote it has left. Or Zapier's per-task pricing stops making sense at the volume you're running. Or you need to automate something that touches the Google Admin API, actual user provisioning, OU assignment, license management, and you hit the ceiling of what those tools were built for. That's the gap Zenphi is built for. It gives you the full flexibility of AppScript. Every action you can perform in Google Workspace is available in Zenphi as a first-class drag-and-drop action. No scripts to break. No single person who understands what it does. The workflow is visible, editable, and runs the same way every time. Before we get into the demo, one more thing worth mentioning. What you're going to see now are sample workflows. They're real, they run, and they're representative of what IT teams typically automate. But they're not templates, and they're not a solution you deploy as is. Every organization's processes are different. The way your offboarding works, the approval chain on access requests, what you do when a suspended account comes back, that's yours to define. Zenphi gives you the building blocks and the flexibility to build it exactly the way you need it. With that said, let's pull up Zenphi Canvas and walk through several of IT Ops automation workflows we see teams typically build in Zenphi. This is the full employee onboarding flow. It triggers from a Google Forms submission. HR fills in the new hire details, and everything else runs automatically from there. The first step looks up the hiring manager in Google Directory and assigns them an approval task. The approval will be handled directly via email. A manager will receive this communication with several possible outcomes. Basically, approve or reject. You can set up here the expiry logic, what a workflow should do if no explicit answer is granted from a manager within a certain time frame. In this case, it's 7 days. Also, you can set up automated email reminders here. To learn more about automating approval workflows with Zenphi, check out other walkthrough. The link to it should be in the upper right corner. Now, if the approval is granted, the flow generates an offer letter from a Google Docs template and populates it with the candidate's detail from the initial form. Next step, the workflow sends the agreement to the employee's personal email via DocuSign for signature. Once signed, and this is the part worth looking at, the flow splits into 4 parallel branches that run simultaneously. Account creation, IT equipment ordering via Google Tasks, induction meeting scheduling in Google Calendar, and a welcome email to the hiring manager. These don't wait for each other. The account is being created at the same time the laptop request is going to IT and the calendar invite is being set. The whole thing, from form submission to a provisioned account with equipment ordered and a day 1 meeting scheduled, runs without anyone on IT needing to touch it manually. Now you might be thinking, but we don't start onboarding with a form submission. We want our automation to begin with a user being added to OU, or from an event in our HRIS. Will Zenphi be able to automate our process? And the answer is yes. In Zenphi, you can trigger your automation from any event in Google Directory, like a user being added to an OU or account provisioned, from Google Audit activity, Google Group activity, even email arrival. To listen to the events in your HRIS, you'd need to use a webhook as a trigger. Offboarding automates all the actions in a reverse order. This one is triggered by a form as well. An admin fills in the employee's email, sets a new recovery email, and picks the offboarding action, suspend, delete, or archive. The flow immediately generates a new strong password and updates the account before any action is taken. That's a security step to lock out existing credentials regardless of what path follows. Then we create branches. Suspend, account is made inactive, data stays intact. Archive, account is archived in Google Directory. Delete, and this is the detail to notice. If delete is selected, the form also asks whether to transfer the user's data first, and to whom. If yes, the workflow transfers Drive, Docs, and Calendar data to the specified recipient before deleting the account. If no, it deletes immediately. The same logic as with the onboarding flow applied here. You can trigger offboarding from a Google OU event. You can trigger it from the HR system. You can also add a grace period for archiving, deleting, or suspending account based on your compliance policy requirements, and steps like Gmail data archiving or Google Vault exports. Access provisioning. This one is also triggered by the form. The requester specifies who needs access, to what resource, at what access level, and whether admin privileges are needed. The workflow immediately looks up the requesting user in Google Directory, finds their manager, and assigns that manager an approval task. On approval, the flow checks whether admin privileges were requested. If yes, it promotes the user in Google Directory. Then a switch handles the resource type. For Google Drive, the user is added to the specified shared drive at the requested access level. For Google Group, it checks whether manager or member access was requested and adds them accordingly. On completion, the form submitter gets a confirmation email. On rejection, the user is notified directly. This one runs on a schedule. The 2SV compliance audit. It scans every user in the domain, checks whether they're enrolled in two-step verification, and builds a report automatically. For each user in the loop, if 2SV is active, it looks up their manager and moves on. If 2SV is not active, it appends that user's details, email, name, audit date, enforcement status, manager name, to a compliant spreadsheet that was created from a template at the start of the run. Once all users are processed, it checks whether any non-compliant users were found. If yes, it exports sheet 1 of the report to a PDF and emails it to the IT team as an attachment with subject to SV audit completed. Access the details here. If everyone is compliant, the IT team gets a clean notification instead, no attachment. This one is triggered by a real Google Workspace audit event, specifically the account disabled hijacked event, which fires when a user account has been flagged as potentially compromised and automatically suspended. The moment that event fires, the workflow runs. It pulls the suspended user's full account details from Google Directory, lists all devices associated with their account, and finds their manager. The manager gets an email immediately. This account has been suspended due to suspicious activity. An investigation is underway. For each device on the account, the workflow creates a record in a table, the Suspicious Activity Incident Reports table, capturing the user's email, the timestamp of the incident, their department, the device ID and ownership, and an initial status of reported to IT. Then an investigation task is assigned to the IT security team. The task includes the user's full details, department, IP address of the suspicious activity, and their device information. The team has two outcomes to choose from: reinstate account or delete account. On reinstatement, the account is unsuspended and the incident record is updated to user reactivated. On deletion, the account is permanently removed and the record updates to user deleted. Last one, and this one's short. It's a manual trigger, run on demand. The workflow loops through every user in the domain, handling pagination for large orgs automatically, and for each user, it calls the Workspace Admin API to list all files and folders they've shared externally, excluding trash. The result is logged to the flow's execution history, each user's email, and how many externally shared files they have. It's a data gathering run, not an enforcement run. It gives you the visibility to identify where external sharing exposure exists before deciding what to do about it. You typically run this before a policy review or ahead of a compliance audit. The output is a clean per-user count, surfaced in seconds across the entire domain. So, 7 workflows, all of them built to show what's possible, not to prescribe how you should do it. Your version of any of these will look different. Maybe your offboarding has an additional approval step. Maybe your compliance audit runs against a different threshold. Maybe you need 3 things we didn't show at all. That's the point. The platform handles whatever your process actually is, providing you the most granular control over your workflow automation possible. If you want to see how it would work for your specific setup, bring your actual process, your current scripts or zaps, whatever you're working with now, and we'll build it out with you on a call. Or start your 7 days trial with Zenphi and experience the flexibility of the platform for yourself. It's free, and you don't need to talk to the sales to start your trial.